Hi, good evening, everyone. Great to have every one of you here. I guess right now we have 37 packs. Yeah. Do send the link to more of your friends who love to know more about what is about leadership, influential leadership. But first of all, I'd like to acknowledge each and every one of you for your commitment. And thank you everyone for spending your precious evening together with us. As tonight's topics is going to be huge, exciting. Therefore, I would like to have 1 to 1.5 hours of your time. And I definitely strongly believe that after this session, right, you'll get something out of it. And like I mentioned just now, do find a comfortable or cozy place that you love to be in. Yeah, just sit back, relax, and enjoy the session. Okay, first of all, before we go even further, right, I'd like to ask each and every one of you, okay, use 1 minute of your time right now to look back. 341 days have already passed for 2021. Who have you tried to make a difference to, but it failed? Yeah, use 1 minute of your time to think of that. And what could be the possible cause that you never make a difference to them? Then, I'll give you 1 minute. I can write it down on the paper that just now mentioned. Yeah.
Okay, for your, what Chris suggests, I think that's a very good point. Write it down, because later on you might be able to actually relate certain things as maybe Derek or me share, and you might get something out of it. So good to have some reflection. Yeah, Kevin said good reflection. So have that reflection in mind. And the one that think the most probably will get the most out of this. So if you want to go get the most out of tonight's session, what should you do? Just write out. Whatever that comes to mind, just write it out. Yeah. Don't overthink. Yeah. Whatever that comes to mind, just write it down there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very good point, Chong Beng. Thank you for adding that. Yeah, whatever comes into your mind, just write it down. Don't think further. Yeah. Okay, the next minute, what I would like to invite every one of you to do is to, okay, since we have only 24 more days to 2022, okay, who or what would you like to make a difference to for 2022? And what you got to do to make that happen. And also write that now. So the whole idea of this is to get a clearer picture of what is your objective or target, or who you want to be better in 2022. So like Chong Beng just now did mention, after the session, you'll get the link the link to see why this question is important right now at this point of time. Okay, I believe all of you have written down what you thought of or what come to your mind. Okay, before we start the so-called the session proper, yeah, I'd like to share with you tonight's guest speaker, Derek Chiu, a multinational business consultant, and Tan Chong Beng, a mentor, a life coach to, I think, most of us. Yeah. For these 2 years in ASEA, I got to learn a lot of things from them. They are two of the few leaders or mentor that I really appreciate, that they give their time, they teach us different techniques or different mindset, and help I can say myself, to grow in terms of, can be in ASEA business. And I feel that not only in ASEA, I felt that even in my own business, it helps a lot. Yeah, so I got to really thank both of them for their time, sharing their life experience, etc. to me. Thank you, Derek, and thank you, Chong Beng. Okay, so as all of you know that tonight's topic is about influential leadership. So Derek, from your point of view, how many types of leadership are there from your point of view, are there out there?
Well, there are many way of defining what leadership is all about, right? So I can go into that, but let me just try and recap into last session which we had, because it was thank you for giving me so many positive feedback in terms of the last session. So some of the questions came in, I just want to review it, so share with you. In the last session, we talked about the fundamental of success, which is very key. So there are three types of fundamentals. One of them is skill set, the other one is knowledge, and the third one is attitude, right? And later on, I'll share with you one of the leader that has the biggest influence in my life, that come out with all the attributes which we came in last session, which we know that attitude plays the main important role of success, right? So having a good attitude is very important. And at the same time also, the master of all skills for success is actually focus. Now, let me just share a bit more with you all. If you look at the most successful people in the world, they have a couple of things in common, right? So let me share with you, people like Michael Dell from Dell Computer, Larry Page from Google, Jack Ma from Alibaba, Zuckerberg from Facebook. Some of these people as well, they're ultra successful. So if study has shown that, why are these people successful? Is it because of the timing? Is it because of education? Is it because they are very presentable? Is it because they come from a rich background? Or is it because physically they're very strong? Or they are very talented? You'd be surprised that all these people which I mentioned before, including Richard Branson for Virgin Group, they are multi-billionaire. They have one thing in common. They're all college dropout. So higher education and talent doesn't mean that they'll be successful. But they know the secret of success. And the skill set for to be successful, which I would like to focus and share with you, is focusing. Focusing is a very unnatural skill in human being, because our mind tend to drift and wander. For them to develop the focus means that they have to do two things: to have the patience and the perseverance for them to carry out the mission. And for them to be focused means that they are only focusing on one company. Of course, Steve Jobs will be Apple, right? Bill Gates will be Microsoft, Dell Company will be Dell, Richard Branson will be Virgin Group. They just focus on one company and have what we refer to as grit. Chong Beng, you want to share a bit more on this?
Yeah, I think during the last session, I talked about grit. So grit, okay, usually how I do things is, I heard of this word grit, but when I need to define it, I actually went to the dictionary and find out, so that I can be precise about it and so that I do not misrepresent. So let me just read it out. When I went on and Google what is grit. Grit is the courage and resolve, or the strength of character. And usually if I don't understand, and there are a lot of words that I don't understand, so what do? I go on and then I go and search, what does resolve mean? So what does resolve mean is actually firm determination to do something. And this is something that I firmly believe in, is today, if we want to achieve something, we must have the courage to, not the courage to be successful, but the courage to face failure. There's a lot of people give up right at the very beginning when they start to have some obstacles, and then the determination to actually resolve, to actually overcome all these challenges. So that is what I have been practicing, and this is something that I truly believe is very, very rewarding in the long term, because you get to train yourself as a person. Yeah. So that's what I agree. Yeah.
So the job description when all these great successful people in the world started was very hard to define. They had to search for what need to be focused for the 20% to produce the 80% of the result, and keep on refining and readjustment. Tonight, I'm going to share with you a very simple job description in ASEA, which all of us do. It's really defined from day one. All you need to do is this 6 sets of activity on a daily basis. And over time, this will produce 80% of the result. Now, before we go into that, let's go into in conversation 4 tonight and answer what is leadership? What is influential leadership? Okay. So there are many, many different ways of defining leadership, but I'll share with you 4 ways which people look at it and see which one will apply to you. Right. Number 1, the most common way people define leadership is the ability of producing extraordinary results from ordinary people. That's the most common definition. What I like is the second one. This is what I say. Leadership is the ability to get people to do the things which they do not want to do originally, so that they can achieve the results which they want to achieve eventually. Does it make sense to you? But I like that definition. Number 3, leadership is not about moving your lips, but it's about moving your feet, which is very important in tonight's discussion. Or the 4th way, leadership is the ability to influence others. These are 4 very different ways of looking at leadership. And I'm sure each one of 99.9% of us will somehow can relate to some of these definitions. So I'm going to add in another thing. Like it or not, we are all born leaders. I will go into it more in detail why I say that and why is it so important tonight for me to share with you, for you to understand the truism behind this concept. Because this fundamental switch or little bit of thinking may change your entire life in terms of the path and the journey which you're on. Okay, each one of us have so much power in influencing the behavior of people around us. Because every day we are witnessing as well as sharing our life journey with people. We have a choice to uplift as well as motivate people instead of discouraging people. We have also unconsciously have the ability to influence people around us. This message that I'm trying to tell across is that it's called the most violated principle of leadership, or principle which people take for granted but don't really know the importance behind that. It's called lead by example. I will share more into detail with that, okay? Winston Churchill, which is one of the very famous UK Prime Minister during the war, said this: after a while, I stopped listening to people. I just watch what they do. This is so true. So tonight, I'm going to share with you some of my personal journey and how looking at the ASEA ethos and value which Tyler put in place has able to connect with my past and also project my future. And I hope that you can also take this into light. For those people that are not familiar with ASEA, Tyler Norton is the founder as well as chairman. He did come out with the 3rd pillar of ASEA mission and vision behind that, which is the culture behind that. Therefore, there's an ethos and values inside there. So Chong Beng or Chris, can you give them the link of that video so that people can watch the values and ethos? Because in life itself, in order for us to do great things, to be successful, we have to be purpose-driven. And understanding that Tyler's mission and vision, as well as the ethos and value in place, is very fundamental for you to succeed in ASEA. So let me share with you my journey. The person that has the greatest influence in my life is my dad. My dad itself was a father to many, many people in Singapore. He wasn't a father to just for me, but father to many, many people. And let me explain to you why. He was one of the first pioneer that came back to Singapore, the pioneer to set up his own private practice in Singapore as a Western doctor. So when he came back to Singapore at that time, he chose to set up the practice in the heart of the neighborhood, heart of the Singapore, which is the Chinatown. Over there, he wanted to set up there because he felt that over there he will make the greatest impact on the people. He's bilingual, he's much better than me, he's Chinese ed and English ed, and he came into the practice. I still remember, he's not the type of dad which whenever I ask him question, he doesn't tell me anything. He will tell me his Japanese wartime story behind that, but then he will ask me to just follow him wherever he goes. You know, so I was a shadow to him. So I remember in the early days that when he first came back and set up his practice in the heart of Chinatown, there wasn't any people that came on, because majority of people was very new to the Western breakthrough technology. Does that sound familiar to you? So they were so used to the 2,000 years of practice in terms of treating things and things like that, and which has been working for 2,000 years. Taking in mind that my dad also eventually incorporated acupuncture as part of his practice in the Western treatment as well. So there was a non-belief system because people are so used to the old way of doing things. So he had to, one by one, create meaningful experience in each one of the treatment they have, and as well as connect with each person over there to build the rapport, the trust, the credibility inside there. So over time, the belief system of this amazing young doctor from Australia start to spread around through word of mouth, and the belief level went up. And within the span of 2 to 3 years, whenever after school itself, I will drop by to the clinic as part of my daily schedule, I will see the clinic queuing up for people. People actually queue all the way up to like just queuing for tickets. To see. There were people coming in from Indonesia, there were people coming from Japan and Malaysia just to see him, you know, and because his rapport with people was great. So the belonging started to grow. The belonging started to grow, and the become and belong started to grow. But with this become a belief and belonging, my dad was able to become who he wanted to be. He was working 6 to 7 days a week, you know, from 9:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. He'll come back to sleep for 2 hours and went back to his clinic again. And he enjoyed just meeting up with people. So this belief, belong and become is so relevant. I hope you actually look at this into some of your life journey in the past, and hope that it will apply for your journey in the future as well. The second thing which I want to keep sharing with you is that my dad was the type of person that did not patient in, patient out. It wasn't about that. He will let the queue go in on there, and he will see someone inside there for 1 hour and let everyone wait. Because he believed in that 3 questions which Tyler has put in place. The first question is, when is the most important time? The important time is now. Who's the most important person? It was the person next to him, which is the person he was treating. He will spend his time and diligence getting to know them, as well as understanding the problem, knowing their family and so on, and really care about them to get the proper treatment. And what's the right thing to do? Is to do right by the person. And these are things which I remember about him. My dad passed away at the age of 69, you know, at a very young age, but it's this influence which he has. He didn't tell me much, but my shadowing him through him, I witnessed the difference in him with other people. And also over time itself, whenever I walk around, people will notice me to be that doctor's son, and will always tell me that, oh, your dad has such a big influence in me. I want to send my kids to medical school. I will name my son after your dad, and so on. And these are the rippling effect and legacy that's informing. So I learned a lot by observation. And whenever I asked my dad any question, he didn't tell me. So this is so true that we have to lead by example, by action. Because leading by example is all about you. It's about me, about you, each one of us, where we witness our life journey with meaning and experience to be shared across, where we consciously influence people around us. Okay, does that make sense?
Yep, perfect sense. And Derek, from what I'm hearing from you is your dad okay, other than practicing his career as a doctor, he also practiced this thing, which my word is being present with whoever that was with him during that time.
Yes.
Yeah, and how you actually got to learn from him is because you say he's a man of few words, right? What he did was he asked you to observe, and in fact, what I'm hearing is through the observation, he become a great leader in the whole community where people just want to meet him. And it's not even Singapore. I'm hearing Indonesia from around maybe Asia coming to meet a doctor in Singapore. Yeah, and people are just willing to queue up just to be with him so that they can just hear his words. Yeah.
So there are two things. I'm sure my dad also had a lot of negative sides. But we often, as human beings, see what we want to pay attention to. Because very often we see what we want to pay attention to because these are what we desire in ourselves. I desire to have the leadership traits like my dad, the positive side in my dad, and that's why I saw him in this light. And I hope that you will take this opportunity to see things as it is, which you pay attention to, because these are the things you will desire from your heart. Secondly, is that very often, like my dad and me, I saw him a very successful person. And basically, he said, I want to duplicate his success. So for the longest time itself, all of us associate ourselves with successful people because we want to mimic their behavior so that we can duplicate their success. So this is what we have. That's the truism behind how human beings function. This is the truism behind how we grow and challenge ourselves in society as well as a human society.
And Derek, okay, just like I mentioned that point, you look at your dad in the perspective of wanting to be successful, right? So you saw all the positive traits of him doing things, right? And if we put it into the other perspective, someone could be viewing this dad as just don't want to tell me anything, keeping everything to himself, just ask me to see, right? So there's two ways to look at things, and you choose the positive way whereby you look at how, through his demonstration, how he became successful. Yeah. And if you have choose the other route, like if my dad don't want to tell me anything, this is just then your life would it turn out very differently?
It would definitely turn out very differently. It definitely does. So I'm sure my life journey is a reflection of a lot of your life journey as well, each one of you, which is true. But 98% of how we operate, including each one of us, including myself, how we operate, our mindset, our attitude, our philosophy, are being done through observational learning, are being done through mimicking, are being done to imitating people. This is how we survive as species, right? And it's so true, 98% of the time. If you look at it, as kids itself, we actually learn how to talk even before we read, right? If you look at the animal kingdom, the word is not monkey say, monkey do, but monkey see, monkey do, right? Even animal kingdom itself, ducks and ducklings, as well as bears, baby cubs and things like that. They don't even have a language, but their survival is based on able to just mimic and imitate their parents, right? So we as human beings, we don't live in isolation. We always have this interrelationship between parents, kids, grandparents, and things like that, teacher and student, spiritual community, employer, employee, bosses, and team members, as well as team. All of us are interconnected. This thing plays a very important role in terms of how we are being perceived in the whole society, right? So this on top of that itself, the other thing which I subconsciously did not know as I grow up itself is that I start to imitate what my dad is doing, even at home, right? We have what you call mirror neurons now. I give you an example. If you go and go and someone asks you to take a selfie or someone, if the person smiles, you probably smile back, right? If you watch a horror movie, even though it's not real, it's flickering lights on TV and with digital pulses all the time, but you also feel fear. So it's our way through this mirror neuron where it's a survival instinct for us to safeguard ourselves, to protect ourselves, right? So like it or not, you are being observed.
Yeah. Okay. And then I like the part that you mentioned. It is a part that safeguard ourselves. So one thing that I also noticed among many people is when things happen, so in order to safeguard, we tend to do we tend to do the things that will create result, or we tend to do things that probably will be safer?
So this is a very good observation. So I have very a dad which is actually focused on work all the time, and I have a mom that's very overbearing. so whatever you do, what I'm saying, what Chong Beng says is right. Like it or not, whatever you're doing will positively or negatively impact people around you, right? And that is how we carry scars in our life, as well as we carry positive encouragement and hope in our life. So how we being brought up, how people has influenced us will determine how we behave eventually.
Okay. So during that point at your younger age, whatever that you have started to practice on, am I right to say you just brought it on into your life, and then that also later on show up as results?
Yeah.
And maybe for some people, whatever way that they have been used to doing, it show up as non-results.
Yes.
Yeah. But what happened if someone from the young age didn't choose this path that you choose, is to look at it from a positive way and then look at it from a negative way? Would that be the end of the road?
It would. Human beings itself strive on negativity. We are attracted to negative things. That is also a very empowerment of people, depending on how you focus this negative energy into positive light, then of course, right? But if you do further negative light that apply into your life, then you will have issues. So I give you a very simple example. Often when we go out with people, or when we talk to people about certain things, people, you get disappointment. You get anxiety, you hear negative news, right? It may trigger off because our mind itself is like a monkey brain, right? So sometimes the monkey brain wonder, and if there's a negative trigger point itself, it may go ape. And then when it goes ape, so a lot of times, a lot of people I meet here, once they get disappointed once, they fall into this spiral. They doesn't know how to get out, right? So that is when they start relating to all their past experience, their anxiety, their upbringing, and then they're triggered into further negative time. This is the fundamental difference I'm going to tell you today. Successful people does not have less problem than not successful people. They just have a different mindset. Okay? And part of the mindset which they have is the ability for them to calm the ape monkey brain down in situation of life quickly, so that they know what they need to do to fulfill their goal. Okay, a very simple example. If I ask you today, how many people would you know of that strike lottery $1 million only to lose it all 2 to 3 years after the road? You hear a lot of stories of people that way. Secondly, is that how many people you know that went on weight loss course to slim down, only to put on weight after 2 years later? The statistics show is almost 100%. So this thing is another topic by itself, but I just want to share with you that many people talk to me about setting goals. And of course, majority of the time they tell me that they want to set goal to make $1 million. But guess what? We don't achieve goals. We grow the goals into it. Our mind must be ready for it, for expansion, not contraction. Right? So I will talk more about that some other day because that's another topic by itself. But this is a very important area to know, that differentiate between successful people that which I come across and people that's not successful. You must be able to calm your monkey brain, right? You must have that focus skill to focus on it so that you are able to duplicate and mimic the same type of success as ultra successful people or people which you admire and worship.
And there, what you mentioned, grow into the goal. Is it possible to even grow into our goal? Since we are somehow born in a family, in a situation where we have so-called no choice. Maybe you're more fortunate. You have a dad who is a doctor, who is very famous. Then what about normal people who doesn't have all these things that you have?
Well, I do have a lot of friends that's very fortunate, but doesn't do anything about life also at the same time.
Okay.
Right. So I believe that, nowadays I always go out, and sometimes I don't drive to work. I take Grab and things like that in place just to meet up with people. You meet a lot of interesting people in Grab nowadays. Spend half an hour of their time. They tell you about their life story, and a lot of them has resound to their faith. You know that okay, this is life. This is my limited belief. I'm not capable. I can just do this amount. I can just drive a Grab for the rest of my life. Right. So these are a group of people with limiting belief. Right. Second group of people are people with chronic issues. You know, I'm very happy, very inspired by the fact that the last 2 months, I had people which I give them to try a seer. Some of them even after a couple of years before they even try it out, and they come and tell me that a seer has saved their life. Not in the sense that they were dying or anything, but in the sense that some illnesses, chronic issues can bring people down, can make them age, and can give them lose hope, and can make them to say to themselves that this is the best they can do in life. You have an opportunity right now this year to change and help these people, right? And you can do that by servicing as an example to others, by sharing your story of success, of your health, and people around you. And that plays a very important role. And I find that human beings like you and me, remember when we're young, we believe that we can conquer the sky. What happened along the way? It's still within us, our unlimited capability and unlimited potential. Because we age, because we have some setbacks in life, because we choose not to believe. This is just a mindset. It's just a mindset that needs to be changed. By focusing the right opportunity, the right platform, I can say about a seer. I cannot say about anything else. I can say about a seer. You can have that hope again to bring it out, right? So don't let anyone tell you that you cannot do the seer opportunity. Don't let anyone say that, because it's a real opportunity, and basically it's there for you to engage on, for you to bring out the best in yourself.
And so Derek, what you say, okay, a seer is an opportunity. So there's something that's already there that we can actually make use of. And it sounds quite simple. Instead of looking at all these things, what we need to look at is actually ourselves. Is that what you're implying?
Yeah.
So rather than looking at the opportunity itself, it's already there. Then the only thing that we need to work on now is not on all these things, but the self, how we respond, right? Last week or the other time you mentioned, right, the events, then events happens, but we can have an option on how we respond.
So maybe let me share with you the 6 things in a seer which you need to focus on to produce 80% of the result. These 6 things, you may want to write it down. It is what I've been doing for the last 4 years. And people see me, I'm still doing the same thing. The first thing you have to do, number 1, is to make sure that you take the seer products, right? All the products, because you never know that who you're going to come across that will appeal certain category of ASEA products. So you need to try it out. Number two is for you to make sure that you share the ASEA technology and product to someone new. Number three is that if people are looking for a business opportunity or financial opportunity, make sure you share the financial opportunity of ASEA to them, because 99.9% of them will fit into this category. Number four, to help someone new in your team to get started in ASEA. Number five is to promote as well as attend events like this and ASEA training events or team events which you have. And number six is to have personal development. This personal development is so key. Without ASEA as a true opportunity, 99% of us will not be doing this personal development. And without this personal development, we can never grow and bring out the best in us. Okay, so this personal development, it's because growth can only happen when it precedes opportunity, the right opportunity. Without the right opportunity, we will not spend our effort to try and improve ourselves. 99.9% of us, right? That 1% itself, I wouldn't talk about it, but that is how we function as human beings. So ASEA has given you hope and life for many, many people that's looking to better themselves. And that is why the personal development includes 30 minutes of exercise every day, reading a good book, reading about somebody's life, and doing some homework on studying our material with ASEA.
Yeah. And well, I totally agree on that part of the personal development, because if I look around, all the very successful leaders, one of the things that they are constantly doing is they are constantly growing themselves. And probably, would that be one of the key ingredients to be able to be an influential leader?
Yeah. So another key example how this is so important is that as human beings, do you think that if you want to do the business, you will go as fast as you can? Do you think that you can go as fast as you want to? There's something missing. What do you think is missing to make you to go as fast as you can, as fast as you want to? I want you to think about it. As parents for kids, or when you're a kid at that time, if your parents don't push you to do things, to challenge your homework, to challenge yourself, what would you do? You may still want to do a work because you enjoy it, but would you do as fast as you can? The pace of your team is a direct reflection of the leadership. It's a direct reflection. I give you another example. In the marathon race itself, in the big marathon race, for example, someone will be running very, very fast ahead of the pack, and the rest of the pack will pull them back. They will break away again, and then they will catch up and pull them back. Overall, people finish the race faster. Number two, in a sledge race with 12 dogs, in Eskimo, they're pushing 12 dogs. For them to go fast, all you need is one dog to break away. The rest of 11 dogs will follow. I give you an example in ASEA for me. When I started ASEA itself at that time, I was trying to lead an example with just 6 set of activities daily basis and doing it well. I'm not asking you to do the work for your people. I'm just asking you to set an example. They still have to do their own work. But by setting an example, they will be influenced by what you do, the success which you create, and they will duplicate it. That's what I'm saying. So in my case itself, I was just leading this 6 set of activities on a daily basis. And then suddenly, God bless Chong Sir, he started the race above the pack and then started to move. And then Danny Wang, you all know Danny Wang, right? Both now triple diamond, including Chong Beng. Danny Wang came up to me and tell me, say, wow, this company, no office, no staff, like that, also no system, also can succeed. Wow, if he can succeed, so can I. right? So finding someone like Chong is not easy. Yes, I agree. You know, he's a very talented, experienced person, but you don't have to look for someone. You just need to look for someone that will be able to break free, because the job description for a seer is very, very clear. It's not rocket science. It's not something which you need to figure out whether this is an electronic vehicle battery or fly to the moon. The sixth set of activity is something which is very duplicable, which every one of us can take on. And all you need to do is find that one person to break from the pack in your team, and the rest of them will catch up. The beauty part about the 21st century, which I talked about it in last week, is that the workforce is full of 5 generations of people.
Yeah.
And at the same time, also, you have the rise of women, the changing of society, and things like that in place. By building the 20th century is about building a standard team that's look and feel is the same. The 21st century is about building a diverse team, because with the diversity of the team, then you can have the internal intelligence and empathy to access the heart and minds of the 21st century marketplace, right? So get out of your comfort zone to say that, I know that you're from different backgrounds, things like that. Connect with them at a different level. You'll be surprised what you can do with the diversity. I always welcome that, because this is the beauty of this is the beauty of 21st century today.
And how do you go about, because it might not be, or it might not occur as easy to connect with this diversity of people, because it's of different age, different background, different gender. So how can a normal person get access to this different group of people?
This is what I love about the seer. This is what I love about this simpler brew bottle. No matter what age, no matter what health condition, no matter what your drugs you're taking, what supplement you're taking, you can still benefit from this. This one product is a holistic to all different ages, different backgrounds, and health is the most common background among all the 5 generations. Everyone still wants to be healthy or wellness, right? With the Renew 28 and the seer technology, you can connect with anyone.
So what you mean is this become a common talking point for everybody to start off with, and then from there it will lead on to other conversations.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Which company has this ability? 99.9% of the company out there itself, there's restriction of age in terms of what you can take. There's restriction of certain things which you cannot take. But this applies to all. And from the safest ingredient in the world that's native to your body, it's called saline. You have this power. You have this power. Yeah. Okay.
And then, Derek, then do you have like anything that you can share? Like earlier you mentioned about some wisdom, right? Yeah, that I think is something very interesting. Sorry?
Which wisdom?
About the Renew 28, that whoever that gets properly on that one, I think that will be something interesting for you to share with.
Okay. All right. So, okay. All right. Let me, I have a giveaway later on. If someone can guess who give you this quote, okay? So, yeah, before I go into that, let me just see if you all understand fully the importance of leading by example, right? Because I think that is so true and so key that that we all have to look at some form of leading example. As long as another way to put it across is that if you want your people to have, if success is 3 fundamental success is good attitude, focus as the master skill, right? And knowledge will build up later. If you want your team to have that, guess what? You gotta show that you have that.
Yep.
You know, because the culture of the team It's the culture of you leading the team. Right? If you expect them to have this to create success, you have to have that to show to them. Most often than not, if you don't have that, and yet you expect them to have that, how's that going to happen? Right? So this thing is so reflective of how we do things. Okay. So all right. So let me go into more into this quotation. Okay, since Chong Beng has mentioned it, right? If you can tell me who gives this quote, I'll give it to you. You can write down a free tube or Renew 28. Okay.
Sample tube or the
real
big
tube,
one,
the big one.
big
Okay.
one,
Whoever you are, I'll send it to you. You give me the address.
Hey, y'all must thank me. I asked that question so that he can give this to me.
Okay. The question is this. The quote is this. The secret ingredient is there's no secret ingredient. Who said that? I want the name. Can anyone guess? The secret ingredient is there's no secret ingredient.
Derek, I think we give them a couple of seconds, then you give them a bit of hint.
Derek Chew. I know.
No,
So
actually, no.
the correct answer will have the Renew 28.
That one lah.
I want the name.
Come, who want to know the answer? PM me.
There's a jet.
Yeah, we need the name.
That's
The
cool.
name
We
of
need
the
the
person.
name.
The name.
The name of the character.
Yeah, the character. Yeah.
It might not. Oh,
Wow,
Janet.
Janet. Janet, which
Okay.
Janet?
Jack say Po. Janet say Mr. Ping from Kung Fu Panda. Po is also.
Janet, you got to on your video to claim your prize.
Make sure it's a real Janet.
So yeah, Mr. Ping is the right answer. Okay, so let me tell you a story. Spoilers alert for someone who have never seen this. Long time ago in China, there was a legend of a dragon warrior. That this dragon warrior itself is going to save China as well as fight against all the adversary. But most importantly, this dragon warrior itself will know and able to understand the secret of the secret scroll, which the master of Kung Fu that can defeat all other Kung Fu around the world. So Master Sifu decided to train out snake, monkey crane, monkey mantis, as well as tigers, the furious fry, to have the potential to become a dragon warrior. But somehow, Wu Gui, being the wisest Wu Gui in the world, did not choose the furious fight, and he chose the Mr. Po. Mr. Po itself is a cuddly panther that doesn't know anything about Kung Fu, but grew up with an adopted duck as a father and cooked the best noodle soup in the whole of China. Okay, so why did he choose Mr. Po, the cuddly panther, inside there? Because if you know the Kung Fu Panther story itself, is that Po itself, as a panther itself, he has the internal intelligence and the empathy to access the hearts and minds of everyone around him. Everyone around him liked him. He got along with the furious fight. He got along with everyone except the enemy, which he tried to defeat. Right? So at the end of the day, he was given the dragon scroll to study the secret of the Kung Fu, the master of Kung Fu. When he opened up at that time to look at it, he didn't see anything else but a mirror. It's a reflection upon himself. And he didn't understand it in the beginning. It took Mr. Ping, when that cooked his famous...
Mr. Ping is the adopted dad, right?
Adopted dad, to tell him that in his noodle soup, there's actually no secret ingredient. It's just that every bowl of noodle he cooked It's from his heart and his soul to cook the best noodle out there for his customer. And that was his secret ingredient. So the inner power for the Kung Fu Panther, yes, I want all you to become a Kung Fu Panther, yes, to access the inner power in you so that you can bring out, but you need something to make that happen. It's called a seer.
Yeah. So Derek, your point is for everybody here who haven't watched cartoon, it's time to start to watch some cartoon first, right? Yeah. Okay. so I do truly agree with Derek. Kung Fu Panda is very educational. It's entertaining from a children perspective. And if you watch it from leadership, there is a lot of things to learn from that movie. 1, 2, 3, I think I watched all of them. Recently, I watched Kung Fu Panda 3. I was asking some people to watch Kung Fu Panda 3 as well. That's where you also find another different form of leadership as well, going the flow. So I think that's an amazing movie. If you have not watched that movie, now is December. Okay, make use of this holiday. Give yourself a break. Watch that one so that you can be the leader within yourself. I think that's an amazing movie to watch. Yeah.
Just one thing which I'd like to share with you about this leadership by example. There's something called the Law of Familiarity. Law of Familiarity. In any relationship, when people people get to know you over time, they very often take you for granted. You know, sometimes sending the same message out from someone that's very familiar with you may not be very impactful. It's just the nature of things. I was a management consultant. Actually, I was paid very well to just go and send the same message which the CEO of the company has been saying the same thing over years. But sometimes people will finally get the message of someone that's less familiar with. That's the reason why, by design from day one, when I started to do a seer, that I want to create different teams. Because the different teams itself, so that you can leverage on each other with talks to help each other. Sometimes you occasionally need help from hearing it from someone else, even though the message is the same, but it may impact people because you're so familiar with people around there. So please make aware of that. This law of familiarity is something which is part of the leadership by example that you have to be aware of. So over time, you can leverage on each other to help you to grow by getting someone less familiar to send the same message to your team as someone that's familiar inside there. I hope that makes sense to you. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
For those who hear me talk, I might like a broken recorder. I keep saying the same thing over and over and over again. Yeah. So sometimes when someone else speaks, maybe it could be the exact same thing. It just seems like there's more wisdom in them. So yes, totally agree on that. Yeah, Derek.
You all have any questions? Which you
Yeah. Anyone of you can have any question can raise out a hand. I will unmute you. Yeah, any question to our Chong Beng or Derek? Can be on leadership. Yeah. No, all shy. Or I point. I just ask a couple of you to hear from you what you got up from tonight's session. I guess you will know who I'm going to call. Hey, Jack and Misty. I'll unmute you.
Hi, Chong Beng. Hi, Derek. Tonight, great session. I learned about focusing, attitude, few things that there are the few tasks for us going to do. Maybe our attitude, and just now Derek was like mentioned about that 6 things that we have to practice every day. So we will practice it every day. And just now Chong Beng proposed maybe this coming Christmas holiday we are going to watch Kung Fu Panda. Actually, we never watched Kung Fu Panda before, so we don't know about that story. So just only Derek tried to talk about that. story. So maybe this coming Christmas we are going to watch that 3 series. Thank you, Chong Beng. Thank you, Derek. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah.
Huan Ying.
Hi. So what I learned from today's session is the monkey see, monkey do, but not monkey hear, monkey do. That is so true. So while you hope the team is going to grow, you need to be the example first, so others to believe you. And yeah, the 21st century is building the diverse team, which we aim for every background, people, age, and health condition as the Renewal 28 and Redox have the the 对象 is everyone. Yes, that's all for me. Thank you.
So if I got it correctly, Huan Ying, you are saying that the ASEA redox technology have the ability to connect each and every one of us together and to bring out the potential of each and every one of us. Can I say that?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, great. Thank you, Huan Ying.
Yeah, I just want to share something with you all, that all of us, we can stop listening to people. We can. No, we do that to our parents, we do that with people. We can stop listening, but we can never stop watching, stop observing, stop witnessing, constantly mimicking consciously of people. That is why leadership, lead by example, is so true. Your action itself is how we learn things 98%, all of us, all the time. So just keep on practicing these 6 activities, but make sure you do it with the right attitude, the right philosophy, the right mindset, and in search of excellence consistently with hope and positivity and all these good values which on people which you admire, the leadership quality. And over time, you'll see that your team will slowly follow the same thing without you having to say much.
I guess we got a question in the chat bar. I asked Jasmine. Hi, Jasmine.
Hey, ADD, can you share with us about the naysayer? Okay, and
How do you bulletproof yourself against the naysayers? When we want to start something new, but people will say things like, nah, get real, it's not gonna work. Yeah.
Yeah, which is a great question. Thank you, Jasmine. So if I ask you today, has your parents, your sibling, or your friends, or your people around you, has it influenced you negatively and positively in some way? Every day? Yes, in some ways, right? Sometimes when you tell them about ASEA, they may influence you negatively, right? So the only way for you to balance out is you influence someone positively. That's it, right? What goes around will go around. So if someone influences you negatively, use that force of negativity to influence someone else positively. And over time itself, guess what? The world is going to change around you. You'll be surrounded with positivity of people. And you watch Kung Fu Panda with a lot of heart, passion, as well as compassion, not anxiety, stress, and negativity. And this is what you have to get yourself into that place, to protect your mind and get the right feedback so that your mind can create things that will achieve your goals. That can only happen if it's in a positive light. Okay? Does that make sense to you?
Any other last question? Yeah, I guess the time is 10:06. We took around 1 hour. Hey, Derek and Chong Beng, maybe I'd like to summarize what you guys have shared. some key important points that you guys have shared just now. Okay. So to be an influential leader, there's a couple of key things that we got to do lah. Like Derek said, a lot of people tends to mimic us. Yeah, each and every one of us actually, we did mimic everything around us, and we like observe and we follow what they do. Then we copy lah, so-called copy, or in a better word would be we borrow some ideas from them, and we learn from their experience. Instead of us just keep hitting the wall, we can mimic the positive influence around us, and those other people will mimic us, and indirectly we change a lot of people's life out there. So with our one single person in our life, which is ourselves, we can make a difference to many, many people out there. Am I right to say that?
Yes, I'm saying to you, you cannot afford to be negative. You cannot afford to have anyone in your team that's negative. You have to protect yourself and your team. I've never met people that's very successful and negative. Nobody, that doesn't happen. All right. So you have naysayer, we have news every day that's bad. Protect yourself. Go and see more cartoons. Disney cartoon helps me a lot. You know, and that will make you happy, you know, and positive and with hope. Surround yourself with positivity. And a seer community is a community of hope. If you talk to all the leadership over here, we are all positively charged. We want to change the world one person at a time with this technology. By the way, the money will come as a byproduct. The success will come as a byproduct. But for that to happen, I want you to dig down inside your little heart, the inner you that's been hidden because you're so afraid that if you come out, you may not get approval from your team. Don't do that. It's okay. It's okay to come out, right? So don't worry about it, you know, because if you don't come out and show up to your team, then the culture of you will impact the team. Like it or not, you're being watched, you're on stage all the time. If you can answer me that question, even today itself, not about a year, whatever you're doing, has the people close to you impact you and influence you positively or negatively? If the answer is yes, I believe 100% of all, because we don't live, even though you're spiritual, you still get influenced by God, you know, and spiritual being, right? Correct or not? So if that's the case, then you also have that power to positively influence negatively to people around. Right? So we want to stay positive because that is the number one trait for life success as well as for business success.
So this is the ripple effect that we are talking about. A single drop of water that drop into a pond, we will never know when it will create a tsunami. So with a correct platform, with a correct vehicle, we can move faster, positively, and further. Yeah.
That's right. And then if people stay negative and then they decide to walk away, just say, let it be, or it happens. There's still so many people for you to touch your lives with. You know, it didn't bother Kung Fu Panda. It shouldn't bother you as well.
Great. Thank you. Any other feedback, or any other things to add on, Chong Beng?
Yeah, so about that part, I think Derek also mentioned, just to put it another way, is I always believe if we want to influence someone's life, you want to lead, actually we just need to focus on influencing one person. And you just must summarize as well. It's here only, it's just our own brain only. So if you want to be an influential leader, who do you need to influence first? It's always this mind over here. Derek words is a monkey mind, or I would say the possibility mind, because we will always be facing the monkey mind that will say all the naysayer things that are telling you, and then there is something bigger, which is the mission vision that Derek was saying. And And if we start to practice what Derek has taught us, to focus, there's two things you can choose. Do you choose to focus on the monkey mind, or do you choose to focus on the mind that will make a difference to your life, that will make a difference to your team, that will make a difference to the many lives of the people that you cross paths with? Either way, yeah, it's your choice. Yeah.
Simply put to you, are you ready to grow? Is your mind ready to grow? Is your mind ready to make $1 million with a ASEA opportunity year after year? If your mind is ready to grow, then you should be able to overcome challenges. Your mind is not ready to grow, then you can't. A single disappointment itself will contract you into a regress state. It's not about open-minded or fixed-minded or closed-minded, but is your mind ready to grow? So that when this thing will happen, you grow into your goals. That's what I want you all to think about. That you are ready to grow that so that you can overcome this challenge. And that's how we grow. That's how we grow. If we don't have challenges, how can we ever grow? We'll be like a 6-year-old kid that never grows. Right? So think about that and see whether that makes sense to you. So when you have naysayers, when you have people that try and put you down and things like that, overcome it. Bring out your secret scroll inside you, your kung fu skill that is actually looking at yourself in the mirror to go and overcome it. Because it's within you, you have that power. You are attracted to negative things. Yes, that's what news are being built up to do, but you also have this power to block them. It's called defense in Kung Fu.
Yeah, that's really the defense, to block off all the negative force and stay positive. Yeah, once we stay positive, we will definitely attract more positive. Okay, the time is 10:15 right now. Yeah, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Derek and Chong Beng for spending their Wednesday night together with us and share with us their life story, amazing insight we got to hear from them. And also like to thank each and every one of you for spending your night together with us. I guess all of us do get some insight from Derek and Chong Beng. Maybe give them a thank you or some flowers.
I'd like to take this opportunity to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. The greatest gift you can give yourself is basically using the Discover ASEA platform to discover the inner you so that you can become what you always wanted to be. But have fun and enjoy discovering yourself. No matter how sweet, innocent, and how beautiful you are inside there, it deserves to be let out. And ASEA, I cannot say about any other platform, but I can say that with ASEA. ASEA is the platform to make that happen for you. So give yourself the greatest gift and the most important person in your life. Give yourself you with the ASEA opportunity. Thank you very much for attending this sharing session.
Yep. Yeah. Thanks everyone. And of course, thank you, Chris, for doing all the preparation work for this event, sending out the messages, the EDM, coming up with everything. So really appreciate everything that Chris has done. Yeah. So thank you for hosting tonight's session as well. So really appreciate you, Chris. Thank you very much.
You're most welcome.